And our first story, Parliament's Public Accounts Committee is recommending that government from hence make specific budgetary provisions to take care of Ghanaians who get stranded abroad. This follows revelations by the Foreign Affairs Minister that the absence of such funds puts pressure on staff at the embassies to sometimes fund such upkeep with their own monies. Foreign Affairs Minister Shirley Ayokoboche was interacting with Chairman of the Public Affairs Committee, James Kluche-Aveji, at Tuesday's sit-ins.
Item for which you budget for. So it means that you've been misapplying other funds to take care of this.
Consular services can sometimes demand that you find the money. And indeed, Honorable Chairman, sometimes the officers even contribute their own resources to look after such persons. But it can happen because otherwise nationals will shout on every rooftop against us.
We have to make an argument for an expenditure line to be created for this purpose, so that you budget for it. If you budget for it, you don't utilize it, it still remains with us. Because when it comes to a point that the staff are asked to contribute, they do it on humanitarian grounds, but they are being affected. So I think that there's a need for us to create a budget line, so the ministry will have that budget appropriated every year for it to undertake this activity. So Clerk, take note of that. It should be part of our recommendation to the House.
The Ghana Police Service has announced a crackdown on the use of sirens by unauthorized vehicles, and this follows concerns that vehicles, mostly land cruisers, sound their sirens to have their way on the road. The news conference organized with the Driver Vehicle and Licensing Authority, the Inspector General of Police, David Asantia Pietu, directed his officers to enforce the directive to the letter. Kingsley Otu has more.
This is not uncommon on Ghana's roads. If you own a Land Cruiser V8, you are a king. They are often seen driving at top speed in the next lane. For what may be described as a two-pronged attack, the Ghana Police Service, together with the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, says it is determined to end the abuse of sirens. In a press briefing held at the police headquarters, Inspector General of Police David Asantia Pietu says the motor traffic regulations specify clearly vehicles and individuals allowed to use sirens.
The practice of illegal use of sirens poses a huge risk to unsuspecting road users, not to mention a disincentive to our collective fight against noise pollution. Sirens ordinarily should be alarm signals to herald vehicles on emergency missions. However, the developing reality is that several other public and private office holders and individuals illegally mount sirens on their vehicles to aid their movement, thereby bringing serious discomfort to other motorists and pedestrians. The DVLA and the Ghana Police Service are collaborating to change this disturbing trend. We wish to state emphatically that any person who contravenes this regulation commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a fine of not more than 25 penalty units or to a term of imprisonment of not more than 30 days or both.
The Chief Executive Officer of the DVLA, Akwesia Jimanbuzia, says the DVLA will complement the effort of the police to achieve their purpose. He said the authority will now carry out checks and remove any unauthorized sirens in any vehicle that visits its offices before any form of documentation is done.
We are stakeholders of road safety, and we intend to collaborate, to work together with the police, the MTTD, to make sure whatever has been outlined by law is enforced. We will also, at the time of vehicle renewal, make sure these things are applied. We will inspect vehicles to make sure they don't have anything that is not mandated by law, which means the lights, the horns, those things not mandated by the LI legislative instrument. Those people who come to us for renewals should understand that we will not tolerate that. We will take that out of their vehicles and probably prosecute them as well.
They hope this will be sustained to ensure discipline on the road. Kingsley Otu's report for Joy News.
I will take you to the Ashanti region. The Assemblies of God Ghana says it is in full support of the double-track education system as an innovative way to address challenges associated with senior high school education. The General Superintendent, Reverend Professor Paul Frimpong-Manso, who declared the support of the church, described it as a smart move to address congestion in the classrooms. Ohemin Teria reports.
The Assemblies of God Ghana is the second to declare support for the double-track system after the Methodist Church. Speaking at the 29th Biennial General Council meeting in Kumasi, Professor Frimpong-Manso urged Ghanaians to embrace what he says is an innovative idea from government despite the challenges.
The double-track intake system is a smart move to address congestion in classrooms and also to ensure that no Ghanaian child who qualifies go to school is left behind, especially the so-called Class A and Class B schools. However, we wish to appeal to the government to take all potential challenges, identifying seriously and make contingency plans to contain and overcome them along the way. We welcome the double-track intake initiative proposed by our senior schools across the country. It is a pragmatic idea and innovation that we should embrace despite the challenges.
President Akufo-Addo, who was the special guest speaker, told members of the church he's determined to ensure senior high school becomes the minimum level for every Ghanaian child. He calls for the total commitment of all stakeholders to ensure double-track system becomes a success.
Education is a tool for development, not for self-serving partisan political debates. It is a tool for the development of our nation, and that is what all of us should commit ourselves to, that every young person in this country, no matter where they are in Ghana, no matter the circumstances of their parents, have access to education. We don't know what village is going to produce the Ghanaian Einstein. We don't know what village is going to... And if we have that perspective, then we will support the initiative that will make it possible.
From Kumasi for JoyNews, Ohemin Teria reports.
Meanwhile, some projects executed in the Ashanti region at the cost of about 1.3 million Ghana cedis are currently wasting away as authorities have so far failed to put them to use. And that's a revelation in the Auditor General's report on management and utilization of District Assembly Common and other statutory funds for 2017. In the Asokore-Mampo municipality, for example, over 200,000 Ghana cedis worth of ICT centers are sitting idle, though they were completed way back in 2016. Prince Apia visited the project and our reports.
This ICT center here at Aswase in the Asokore-Mampo municipality is one such facility captured in the books of the Auditor General. Over 208,500 Ghana cedis was spent on the project and computers installed, but they are idle.
Now this is the ICT center constructed by government some 2 years ago. After completion of this project, it has been under lock and key. It has not been open for use for reasons best known to government. This structure was located here because there are a number of primary schools here and most of them don't have ICT centers. So it was put here to serve the people and the residents in ICT literacy. But after it was completed this 2 years ago, it has been left in the hands of spyware and weeds.
Residents here are unhappy about the situation, especially as ICT literacy rate is very low in the community.
I don't even understand, because the past government, they do everything. They even bring computers there and chairs. But now I don't even know what they're doing about it, because we have a school there is a school here. So I think if they open it, the children can come and learn something about it.
The situation is not restricted to Sawaba. At Akwem, another ICT center, though unequipped, is abandoned. It is located within the Akwem cluster of basic schools, which has no ICT laboratories. Students have to resort to internet cafes for ICT education.
In our school, we don't have ICT lab. When we went to go to ICT, unless we go to the cafe, internet cafe. And we have ICT lab and can ask to go to some of the ICT lab. So we beg the government that it should open this one for us and this one to help us.
Municipal Chief Executive Ali Duseidu says the Assembly will have to hand over these projects to the Education Ministry to address the challenges.
4 ICT centers within the municipality. One was in use, the other 3 were not in use. So last week I wrote to the Education Directorate that we want to hand over all the ICT centers within the municipality to them. So they will randomly find a way of putting up some itineraries for all the clusters of schools around to go in there and put it into good use. So within this week, then next week, early next week, the meeting will come on. I think that there is no point whereby we have such a structure we left there unused and all that.
The Auditor General recommends assemblies provide requisite logistics and amenities to ensure the project become functional.
Until government puts this to use, taxpayers' money continue to go waste as students languish in their classrooms without ICT to learn.
Prince Apia reporting.
Well, that's it for the news. But Kojo, these are some of the things that we do as a people. And usually when there's a transition, we tend to find all of these. But I don't know whether you can revert your mind to those pack of fleet of vehicles that are sitting on the compound of the Institute of Local Government Studies in Medina.
Yeah.
You know, there used to be new 4-wheel drives, Hyundai 4-wheel drives. We've even paid the judgment debt on them, but still, nothing.
Indeed, there appears to be this very strange situation where, poor as we may be, we still don't quite know what we own. Or we still are not, we don't avert our minds to all the resources we have so that we can allocate them to the good use of the nation. Rather, we allow so much more of our resources to leak out, and that contributes greatly to our poverty. Later on the newspaper review, I will tell you what is happening in IOKU, the institution that is mandated to investigate those who commit financial malfeasance or who waste and steal and abuse state resources. I'll tell you what they themselves have done with over 1 billion Ghana cedis. That's all to come.
Well, definitely. But also to come, we have, Kojo has an interaction with Dr. Ekospio Gabra. We told you about that. He wants to lead the NDC as flag bearer to win the election in 2020 to become president of our republic.
He'll actually be live here in the studio.
Yeah, definitely.
We're very excited. We're very happy that he's joining us. And of course, you know, we're going to ask him all the questions about what he thinks about the present government, what he thinks about his own party. You know, he has not been silent in criticizing them. So we'll see whether his position has changed now that he wants to lead the party, or whether he still thinks his party could do without 1 or 2 people.
Well, we're taking a break. When we come back, all that for you. Stay on.